The name of the title of today's service is Who Do You Say I Am? Now, when I first mentioned that, I think it was one of my kids, like you? I'm like, no, not me. I'd like for you to turn your Bibles to Matthew chapter 16. In the midst of a study, in the midst of looking at scriptures, I ran across this chapter, this passage, and honestly, it challenged me. So Matthew chapter 16, please. When Jesus came into the coasts of, Caesarea Philippi, close enough, he asked his disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" It's an easy question, right? You're standing in front of the Messiah. You're standing in front of Christ. You've been told parables. You've understood certain things. And he looks, he goes, "Who do people say that I am?" And they said, "Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elisha, others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." Then he paused everything. He saideth unto them, "Whom say you that I am?" This question should pose a challenge to us this morning. The question itself is simple. The answer of it needs to be personal. In our lives, you should be able to answer this question very personally about who do you, as a flock, as an individual, say that Christ is? What would be your answer? What is your placement in that on how you understand who Christ is to be able to answer that? This morning, we're going to discuss some of the names of Christ. This is not going to be an exhaustive, long list of things. There is so many more names written in the Bible for Christ than I had time to write down or even felt led to share this morning. But I am going to bring some of the highlights. We're going to start in Genesis chapter 22. Jehovah-Jireh. Translation is Lord our provider. Now you go, it's like, yeah, we've sung this song, we've seen it, that he provides it, he makes things for us, and that's absolutely correct, but you have to understand where this came out of context. Abraham was asked to sacrifice Isaac. For 3 days they traveled with understanding that Abraham was being asked by God to sacrifice his son. And they traveled for 3 days. When they got to the mountain, they got to the place of the altar, and Isaac was still asking his dad, "What are we going to do about the animal? What is there a lamb? Is there a ram? What's going on?" He goes, "No, God's going to provide. He'll take care of it." For 3 days, this travel. Now, I don't know about y'all. If you've traveled with kids, when you didn't tell them where you were going or what you were really doing, how often do they ask, "Are we there yet? What's going to happen? What's going to go on? Where are we going, Dad? What's going to happen?" Can you imagine Isaac's question, though? And Abraham going, "The Lord's going to provide." At the very end, he had put him on the altar. He had already done everything necessary. And in the moment that Abraham raised the knife up over Isaac is when the Lord said, "Stop." You have to understand, it wasn't during the difficult journey. It wasn't through even the prepping for this. It was at the moment. Because you can sit there and say all day long, "Yeah, I'm going to worship you, God. No matter what my circumstances are, no matter what I'm going through, I will worship you no matter what." That is still good and sounds really good until the moment you have to sacrifice something. To the moment it becomes real. Because words are really easy. Actions take something else. And at this point, Abraham's brought Isaac and he's laid him up on the altar. And he's pulled his knife out. He said his prayers. And the Lord said, "Stop." And he provided a ram. And at that moment is where this verse comes in. Genesis 22, verse 14. "And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah-Jireh, and it's said to be this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen." And it means our provider. God has promised us even in his name, to supply every need that we have as we are obedient to him. The key word there is obedient. If we're in rebellion, there's consequences. It's not until we're truly walking in obedience God provides everything that we need. And sometimes that is more difficult than we're comfortable with. It is sometimes meaning we have to make sacrifices. We have to change our way of thinking. We change our thought pattern. I said this a few weeks ago, Be in Health as a team. We just finished reading Undercover by John Bevere. As a church, I recommend that if you have not read that yet, for those that aren't part of the Be in Health team, but you didn't read it according to the Be in Health team requirements, I strongly recommend get a copy and read it. It will absolutely change your mindset and perspective about following leadership and how to keep self-pity, whining, rebellion, complaining, murmuring, and all that out of the way. Because murmuring, complaining is rebellion. Abraham didn't do that when he was walking with Isaac. He said, the Lord will provide.